Hey there guys and gals, welcome back to Back Pocket Game Reviews, and today we're going to talk about GameStop's big announcement of them closing 300 stores. So a lot of YouTubers making this sound like, well, the end is nigh. Don't get me wrong, the end is not too far off for GameStop. They are fighting off irrelevancy from numerous different directions, from digital download to Amazon to being able to literally walk into almost any other retailer and buy a video game. So I want to put this into perspective. GameStop had a very different model than what they're currently starting to try to trend to. They're trying to get to where they're going to have other stuff going on in their stores. So they may even wind up eventually buying bigger locations and moving some of their stores. But as of right now, GameStop is sitting at around 5,700 locations. If you're wondering, that is still over 100 stores per state. That is a little ridiculous, to say the least. And at one point in time, that was a very logical idea for GameStop to be everywhere, but they also invested heavily into malls, which are currently dying, so a lot of their mall stores tend to wind up being the ones that are closing. Keep in mind, all of their stores that are currently open are profitable stores. They trimmed all of the fat that wasn't profitable way back. But now they're closing 300 additional stores. You might ask yourself why. Well, again, they have over 100 stores per state, which is a little ridiculous. And I get it. To compete with Walmart, you need to be everywhere. However, Walmart is no longer the big thing killing them off. Well, it's Amazon and digital distribution are probably their two biggest ones. And if we're being fair, GameStop's omni-channel sales suck. Omni-channel is digital, like online. Buying online to have delivered or buying online to pick up in store. I'm not shocked that the announcement of this came shortly after they announced they're closing all of their stores temporarily during the coronavirus outbreak. They are paying all of their associates, so good on them for that at least. But with that being said, when you compare the amount of stores that GameStop has to other major retailers, when you look at a Target has just shy of 2,000 stores in the US, and Target is a much larger and much more successful retailer than what GameStop is. When you look at Best Buy has under 1,000 stores in the US, but again is a much larger and much more successful retailer. Hell, even when you go over to like a Micro Center, that business model doesn't really fit for an electronics store. And it may have at one point in time when that was the only way to buy games. You could be everywhere. But now you wind up with the issue of these stores are cannibalizing the other store's sales. GameStops are in close enough radiuses to where rather than, hey, I'm going to go over to the GameStop over here, and a lot of people in that area might decide to go to that same GameStop, I have 3 stores within 5 miles of my house. Yes, 3 GameStop locations within 5 miles of my house. Yeah, that's a little intense. Just saying. And don't get me wrong, I get it. As I said at one point, that was a great business strategy. However, with the change to compete against what they are competing against, that's not really necessarily the need or even really what's going to help fix them. Slimming them down, maybe even getting some bigger locations, staffing hours, so putting more staff inside of one store. And the thought process behind this, because even my company that I work for has way fewer stores than GameStop, but even they do this same thing where when they close a store, they estimate a certain amount of customers that are going to go over. I don't know what equation or how they figure out the amount of customers, but then that actually gets bolted onto my sales plan. So they are saying we should get X amount of this. And don't get me wrong, I know closing GameStop stores a lot of times will call stores in their area or call customers that have pre-orders. Hey, your new home store is going to be this. We're transferring your pre-orders over to here. A lot of that stuff isn't abnormal. So customers are being made aware, hey, this is the store we're expecting you to go shop at. My company does the same kind of stuff. We have what's called a brand ambassador, where one person from my store would be over in their store, kind of letting customers know, hey, here's a coupon to come over to our store. But a lot of companies used to do that, where they would expand. And unfortunately, you really don't need to be on every street corner now. That was great originally when you were originally trying to take on Amazon, but with the way things are going now, when the way rent is and all of that stuff, it's honestly more of a hindrance. It's one of the things that's probably hurting most companies, whereas most customers, especially if you have 3 stores within a 5-mile radius of your house, one that way, one that way, and one that way, if I were facing the front of my house, legitimately. I mean, literally, you could close one and all of the business would go to one of the other ones. I'm just saying. Actually, you could probably close 2 of those, because within 15 miles, if we expand that to 15 miles, it now goes to 5 GameStops. 5 GameStops that close to my house. And 15 miles isn't a very far drive. I mean, maybe it is, depending on if you don't have a mode of transportation, but just saying. I think that the amount of stores they have is way too much for what their goal needs to be and for the way of them restructuring their business. It does suck to say, oh man, some people are going to lose their jobs, but it's really not hard to replace a GameStop job. No offense. Worked there for long enough to be able to say that pretty accurately. But it's just, there's a certain level of how many stores you should have and what's considered oversaturation. And I think this is probably one of the biggest things that leads people to believe GameStop is franchised, because it's not. There are no franchise. They are all corporate-owned GameStops. There is no such thing as a franchise GameStop. That is a common misconception where I've had a lot of you try to comment, not a lot of you, but there have been people that have tried to comment in my comment section, yeah, my dad owns a GameStop franchise. Your dad does not. You're a filthy liar. Stop it. So, you see this kind of stuff happen a lot with franchises. Like when you look at Subway, when Subway took off, how many Subways did there used to be? I literally can count like 6 right around where I'm at right now. 6. Probably within 10 miles of each other. Yeah, that's intense. No one needs Subway that bad, I promise you. Steak and Shake was another one that was really notorious for doing that. Granted, they never got to the point of where, like, Subway got, but that is kind of an issue you can wind up with franchising. McDonald's at least picks the location, so none of their stores should cannibalize other stores. But to be fair, they definitely do, and I wouldn't really drive far out of my way for a McDonald's anyways, so take that as you will. Guys, I am curious to what your thoughts are. Do you think it is convenient that GameStop is literally on every street corner, or do you think they should maybe start working the more classy corners? They're not very classy, by the way. But I'm curious what your opinions are. And obviously, I don't think they should go cutting down their stores that are out in BFE in the middle of nowhere, because those are probably their most profitable stores, for being 100% honest. Places where Prime Now and stuff like that don't really exist yet. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. I mean, obviously, eventually we will see the death of GameStop, but we probably got another 4 or 5 years, I'm guessing, at least, before that happens, because we got a new console cycle coming up. That always boosts GameStop drastically. So, I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a thumbs up. Those thumbs up help me grow the audience and help my videos get seen by more people. Help me help you, please. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to click the subscribe button. You can ding the bell. Supposedly, notifications should let you know when I upload or go live or any of that stuff, but judging by the comments I get, that doesn't always work. So, if you want to follow me anywhere else, links are as always in the description box down below. I always tweet out when I've uploaded a video. I always tweet out when I go live. Twitter is probably the best way to get any kind of notification out of me, and sometimes I post some really goofy shit on there. I also have the link to the BPGR Reddit page now. Yeah, there's a Back Pocket Game Reviews subreddit. You can go over to that, click and join if you want to see the link. The link's over on Twitter. I believe I also posted it on Facebook. So I'll see you all soon. I'll have plenty more content coming for you, and stick around.